Hey, this thing working?
I'd like to call this meeting to order.
Got you praying.
This is a meeting of the Parish Council. This is our regular meeting. It's August 11th. It is 6:04. I'd like to ask everyone to please stand for the invocation. Mr. Shane Mack.
Appreciate it. Let everybody bow their heads, please. Dear most gracious and heavenly Father, we just thank you for today, Father, for allowing us to gather, Father, and just do the will of the parish, Father. Just give us the strength and courage to do what's just and what's right for the people of Livingston Parish, Father. Just want to ask that we just ask you, Father, just to be with the first responders and the law officers and firefighters, Father, and all of those that serve the community for the good and to help others, Father. And just forgive us of our sins, Father, and just help us to be the people that you would have us to be, to work together as a team and do good. Father, let your will be done in our lives, and it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Mr. Wascom, you lead us in the pledge?
Yes. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jeff, I didn't hear the name.
You owe him one. All right. Let's Sandy, roll call, please.
Mr. Dillette.
Here.
Mr. Orr.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Here.
Mr. Wascom.
Here.
Mr. Mack.
Here.
Mr. Talbert.
Here.
Mr. King.
Here.
Mr. McMorris. Mr. Jones.
All right, this time I'd like to remind everyone, if you have a cell phone, please turn it off or mute it. Public input. I have cards for the ones that signed up to speak. I will call your name when we get to them items. Other than that, them people will get 4 minutes. The rest will get 2 if something pops up in your head. Have no presentations. Councilman comments. Mr. Light, you have any comments?
No, sir, not at this time.
Mr. Bubba Harris.
No, sir.
You do have one. Trunk or treat.
Which one?
Trunk or treat.
Oh, I forget about that one. Yes, we are going to have trunk or treat again in October, and it's going to be on a Monday, the 31st. And any of y'all that would like to participate in it, furnish candy, drinks, whatever, more than welcome. It's going to be at South Park, and it's going to be from 6 to 8. It's the same thing we've been doing ever since the flood. So
It's a great thing. The first time I participated was last year. I was amazed how many people come through there and how excited they are. You know, it's a great thing. I commend you on that, Mr. Harris.
And a good thing for the parish. All right, Mr. Wascom, you got anything?
No, thank you.
Mr. Mack?
Just happy to be alive and serve the people of Livingston Parish.
There you go.
Mr. King?
No, Bubba, I will be here this year. I'll be back. I'm going to come back Sunday night from Oklahoma. We'll be here for your trunk or treat.
good.
Mr. Talbot?
I'm good, thank you.
All right.
Real quick, Miss Katie Scannell, the Miss Louisiana, is running for Miss USA. I know she showed up at a place down in Marpaw and Manny's the last Sunday for the Garfish Rodeo, and the place was absolutely packed. So this is a big turnout for the Garfish Rodeo, and I'd like to, again, just let everyone remind you, when time comes, be sure and pull for Miss Katie Scannell from Louisiana for Miss USA.
And just so everyone knows, I'd like y'all to keep Mr. McMorris in your prayers. He's fighting COVID right now at home. So Mr. Girlinghouse is just on vacation, so we ain't worried about him. All right, number 9, adopt the minutes of July 28th regular meeting of Livingston Parish Council.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Delatte.
Second.
Second by Mr. King. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Parish President's report, I talked to President Ricks today. He didn't have anything to report, so we'll move past that. Livingston Parish Planning Commission. This is minor resub. I guess, Mr. Talbot, you want to take the lead on this?
Sure. At our last meeting, these two minor resubs were sent back to the planning commission with the parish attorney, asking the parish attorney to render an opinion on 3 items. Number 1, did the 2-year wait apply? Did the density of the new ordinance apply? And did the road width of the new ordinance apply? The parish attorney issued a letter on Monday, August 1st. Basically said that he felt the 2 years did apply. He also felt that you could not retroactively impose the density. And he said since the road width was a safety concern, you could basically deny on health, safety, and welfare of the community. However, the Planning Commission took no action and left it as it was. Even though if do y'all all have the letter from the parish attorney?
Yes, we do, right here.
If you go to page 3 of 4, the top paragraph, if you go down to frankly, it says, frankly, I read the current ordinance that requires a wait of 2 years as applying to this situation. He combined to create 2 lots and then divided those 2. So basically, it says, I know our staff has a different interpretation based in part on what the meaning or intent of the ordinance was when it was passed by the council, and he says I was not privy to that. However, my interpretation of what putting the 2 lots back together did, and the parish attorneys were the same. There was some discussion as to being consistent, and my point was that just because we've been doing it wrong forever, doesn't mean we can't do it right now that we know what the rules are. So there was discussion as to whether, the 10 days had passed without a letter of objection, whether the 60 days had passed, whether you can, since the planning commission had ruled already. But my point being, if the parish attorney ruled that the 2 years applied, the only way the application could be considered is a waiver by this council, which this council did not grant. What we asked for was an opinion on whether the 2 years applied or not, and we were told that it did. So based on the fact that the parish attorney said the 2 years doesn't apply, I would like for us to reject what the planning commission did because it's non-conforming to our ordinance. So therefore, the application should have never been accepted in the first place and should have never been approved by the planning commission. It is non-conforming based on the fact that 4 lots were made into 2, which should then require a 2-year wait before they're able to be subdivided again. So that's my motion. I'm sure there's somebody in the public that wants to talk about it.
I want to second the motion.
So we got a motion from Mr. Talbot, and we got a second from Mr. Delatte. All right, now, I got some people that signed up for comment, so you can, if you still want to comment, you can come up. Now, we're still working on our clock and all this. This is all new for us, so you'll get 4 minutes. So I got John Chapman. You still got something to say? Come on up, sir. Champion? All right, I wrote it down wrong. My fault.
No problem. Look, I'm really from the old school that I own 3 acres of land on Chandler Bluff, and I don't want anybody telling me what I can do with my land or what I can't do. But if you're considering safety, the road is too narrow. There is no shoulder on the road. There's mailboxes all the way down. If you meet another car, it's difficult to pull over enough for much less a bus or truck making deliveries or anything. It's totally unsafe to put another 28 to 35 cars on this road. And where it comes out on 1019, there's a curve to the north, there's a curve to the south. It's hard to get in and out of it now because of all the traffic that is on 1019. I hope y'all take that into consideration.
All right, thank you, sir. All right. Patrick Moore.
My name's Patrick Moore, and I live on 7091 Chandler Bluff. And I have to reiterate just what this gentleman had said, but it's even more so dangerous. We're not talking about the 20 residents on there. You're talking about adding another 14 homes. The amount of traffic on this road. This week, 2 children right in front of my house, because a truck came fast from the back end of that road. I don't know who it was. They were scared. They had to go off their bicycles into the ditch. It's going to happen now if you all don't take care of this road to start with. But I don't understand why we're even discussing this, the idea of making this danger tenfold. It just makes no sense. I spoke to the Attorney General's office. They say that you folks govern this no matter what the Planning Commission says. Why the Planning Commission I went to the meetings from the beginning of this, and they had their minds made up from the start. And this is common sense. There's legal precedence to this. There's no way that you would put these people's lives and their children's lives in danger, more or less the people that are living on there already, on top of 14 maybe new families. It's just inconceivable that you would consider this. And in speaking with legal counsel, there is a precedence to this, and I'll certainly, if I don't get help from the rest of the people on the street, I will file suit. It's ridiculous. Thank you for your time.
All right. Wanda?
Thank you for listening to us again tonight. Here, most of you may not even know it, what Chandler Bluff looks like. It's a very rural, very old road, but like it's been explained, you don't have shoulders, you have ditches. And so there is no maneuvering around with vehicles. Most of you gentlemen are familiar with a regular sized working truck, working man, and he has larger mirrors. Well, then you have to begin to pull into somebody's driveway, or somebody's got to back up into the road to get out of the way. Now, take into consideration, it's not just us existing neighbors that have worked together to maneuver ourselves through this road through the years. But you have to consider the safety of the people. Whenever you call for an ambulance to come to help, you want them to come. You don't want to have to, well, we got to wait till this guy can get up 2 more feet and get into that driveway and get out the way, or you don't want to wait till that big delivery truck can back up, which they will not do. We've had some residents try to attempt that who backs up first situation. You want the ambulance to come, and you don't want to hinder that. And we have had that happen. This is a real situation back in December. And you don't want to stop the fire truck. My house is on fire. I'm picking up the phone, 911, send the fire truck now. Well, I'm sorry, ma'am, but the cars are lined up trying to maneuver around the pickup truck that won't get out the way, so we're going to sit here and wait. That's the situation we're going to be adding to because of the tremendous amount of influx of vehicles, delivery just setting up and building this place that he plans on, much less the people living there. On the average, 2 cars a household, so you've got 14 lots. We include 11A and 11B in this conversation because even though it's split up into 2, we know it's one project. It's one project. So you have all of this come together on top. This is an unsafe conditions that are being imposed on us if this goes through. Hazardous conditions. And in my profession as an insurance agent, we try to prevent such situations that would cause and create unsafe situations. And so that's why we've come to y'all to ask, please help us. Help us, the people that live here, to remain able to consist in a safe environment. This is what we're appealing to you for as your authority as the council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brett?
Thank y'all again for hearing us out. My name is Brett Allman. I moved 7 years ago, Chandler Bluff. We built a custom home, I got 4 kids, and one of my middle son, he plays up the road with one of the neighbors right there off of Chandler Bluff. I mean, my concern is we move out of a subdivision into there. Now a subdivision's come for the privacy, for safety for our kids. Now a subdivision is trying to develop into here to add more traffic, and as everyone has been saying, there's not even just no shoulder. The sides of the roads are jagged. You can barely, I got a teenager just learning how to drive. I'm trying to just barely keep him out of the ditches, teaching him how not to hit the mailboxes when a car's coming by. I can't imagine 30 more cars coming through here. Can't imagine my son there in the front playing with his buddy, and if there's an accident that happens, they have no space between them and that road and the yard that they play football in right there. A car could come off that ditch, come up and hit them. I mean, who knows? We're adding this much traffic to a small little neighborhood community right there, and I appreciate y'all. I don't understand why that wasn't a concern brought up in the planning, but it seems like the two people that are the two groups for this have no invested interest in living in this area. You know, that they're not going to suffer the consequences made from this decision of impacting that many people in that small of an area, and their children aren't the ones that's going to be playing around there, and their kids aren't going to be driving those roads and suffering the consequences. So I appreciate y'all hearing us out and taking that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Scott Lobel? Steve Larkey? All right, does anybody else have a comment? Yes, sir, come on up. You got 2 minutes.
Hello, I'm Anthony Fiducia. So I'm the developer for this, and I put in 60 days ago, and we made a formal demand for it to be approved under the state law, and it's not been met. So no one's issued us like a denial or approval, but under the state law, we're not violating any rules. So just like some clarification of why they can't provide us with approval.
Could be administrative.
Yeah.
I mean, look, there's no doubt that the way the rules written, when you make a application, if planning has a problem, it's what to do within 10 days. However, this is a non-conforming deal that shouldn't have been accepted anyway without a waiver from the council, because our parish attorney has said that the 2 years should apply. So once he bought the property and put the two lots back together, then the 2-year window should have kicked in. So any application
It's
made
a property
after that
exchange.
It's not a property exchange by
Yes.
definition.
On the map that I recorded at the courthouse,
But
it says
it doesn't
property
matter what the
exchange.
map says. You took 4 lots and made 2 out of them, which required a 2-year wait. At that point in time, anything that was submitted required a waiver from the parish council, which is yet to be granted. So I would like to deny these based on, we're not granting a waiver and saying they're not conforming with the ordinance.
We plan to file suit.
That's fine.
Okay, finished? Thank you. All right, is any more comments? For denial from Mr. Talbert, a second from Mr.
Look,
Delat. Is there any comments from the council?
That motion's on A and B.
A and B.
A and B.
Okay. Mr. Mack?
I just want to say I'd like to call for the vote, or ask you to please, call for the vote on this one. In addition to that, before I vote, I want to justify or comment on why I'm voting the way I'm voting. So you want me to go ahead?
Yeah, you
It's
can do
time
it
to
now. Go ahead and tell us what.
Okay, so since I've been a councilman, we have approved many, many minor subdivisions in Livingston Parish on roads with minimal width, right? A lot of times drainage is not well in that area, but the way the ordinances are written, to be fair and not discriminate against any individual, we've approved those, okay? And so what I'd like to say is I feel like it's possible that this development could proceed in a safe method that would be right and justified for all of those individuals that live on that road and not prevent future property owners from subdividing on that road. Now, saying that, I would agree with Mr. Gary and the parish attorney's opinion written in this letter that says that the ordinance was in violation. And the reason it was in violation was because the creation of two lots and then dividing those two lots was let's see what it says. It says reads ordinance that requires a wait. You're supposed to.
Hold.
Right.
I've had y'all's turn to talk. Let him finish.
So when you wait, you're required to wait 2 years when you combine these two lots, you need to wait 2 years before you're allowed to re-subdivide these lots. And that is the one and specific reason why, I can't remember what the motion is, or even we made a motion, but I would vote to deny the approval of this division of property. That's all I'm done.
More comments from the council?
Call for vote.
Andy, please call for the vote, and then remember this is to deny.
To deny, right. I would like to say one thing. I still believe Livingston Parish Council is the governing authority. We are elected by the people, and we should be the ones making the final decisions, and not the planning commission. Though I appreciate all they do, but the buck should stop with the parish council. We're the ones that are elected by the people. So I just want to let you know that. So call for the vote.
Call for the vote, Ms. Sandy.
Mr. Delatte.
A yes is to deny or
Deny.
to, yes.
Mr. Ard.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Wascom.
Yes.
Mr. Mack.
Yes.
Mr. Talbert.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
All right, item 12. Item 12 is a public hearing, so we will now be entering into a public hearing. We'll
Where we at?
wait a few minutes and let them clear. We got some people leaving, so let's
Okay.
let them leave. All right, so just to remind everyone, we're in the public hearing. Ms. Sandy, you want to read this?
Okay, this is an ordinance to amend Livingston Parish Ordinance Number 22-02, adopted on March 24th, 2022, hereby revising the beginning of the council members' terms of office and their districts, which shall be effective for all purposes from the first Monday in January following their election to the second Monday in January following their election, whereby this being an ordinance to provide that there shall be 9 council members who shall each represent one of the 9 voting districts, and to establish and provide for the boundaries of the 9 voting districts.
This is just a little clerical that we need to fix for our, when we did our maps to do redistricting.
Open already?
Yeah. No, was there any comments from the public on this? Mr. Lobel? Mr. Larkey? All right. We are now closing the public hearing. Any comments from the council?
Motion to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Wascom, second by Mr. Mack. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. 13, appointment or call for an election for the vacancy of the office of Constable, Justice of the Peace for Ward 11. This is a request from the Louisiana Secretary of State. Basically, we had our constable that resigned in that area, which is most of the area south, kind of Walker South area, south of the interstate. I'm not sure if it goes over into Coyell or over into Denham, but I do know it's that Walker South area. We didn't have anyone qualify. We haven't been able to find someone to take that spot. So before the governor appoints someone. We need someone in that community to step up. So anybody that knows,
Get the word out, guys.
especially like law enforcement that's retired, they're usually the best ones, or military, somebody that's got some kind of training to go in and talk to these people.
Knows how to handle situations.
Yeah, they're gonna work with the justice of the peace, serving papers. So, if y'all know anybody in that area, we need somebody so that we can keep it our people in Livingston Parish.
So let me ask you a question. Do they have to reside in that area, or can the JP from another area serve in that position?
Have to reside in that area.
I think y'all might want to get a legal opinion, because I searched something that said if no one would accept the position in that area, an outside person.
I think this is our last call.
Okay.
Well, the only reason I'm saying is I know the JP in my area talked to me about trying to fill that spot. He had said he would fill it if it came available. So I don't know if nobody shows up. The guy, my JP said he would be glad to serve.
I would.
Might have to double the
They won't let
salary.
you do it.
Spoke to them extensively.
He can just make more
And the
money
governor's
on
office,
each case.
and it has to be somebody that.
So do they need a constable or justice of the peace?
They need a constable
The constable.
For that justice.
or that justice.
I think Mr. Rupert said he was trying to do it, but it was stretching him out too far, And he does a good job. But
Let's walk, who's this?
The discussion,
Well, that's more Gerald McMorris's district with a little bit of Tracy. Tracy have a very small section.
Mr. Chair.
I just don't know how much it goes into the city of Walker. I don't know
It
if it
probably
goes
wouldn't.
north of the interstate or not, so that would determine how much of the area it is for
Yeah,
Tracy's.
of
But I know Tracy went to Gerald when Mr. Bobby retired and said we need to find somebody. So Gerald's already been looking.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just asking if this is even possible. When you call an election, it costs us money, parish government money. And is it necessary to call the election, or can the governor appoint someone without calling an election? And you can save money. I'm asking, I don't know.
I mean,
Well, even for the governor to appoint somebody, he would want us to recommend them, I'm
yeah.
sure.
I mean, so Miss
So-
Sandy's saying she talked to him, Secretary of State and the governor's office, and they saying that we need someone that resides in that area. So,
They said the governing authority shall therefore call, I'm sorry, can I speak?
go ahead.
The governing authority shall therefore call a special election for the above specified office within 20 days, which today's the last day, in accordance with the revised statute, blah, blah, blah. The next available election is March 25th, and April the 29th of 2023 will qualify in January. However, you have the option to choose the fall 2023 gubernatorial election dates, which are currently scheduled for October 14th, 2023,
And that's
and
cheaper.
November 18th, with qualifying dates in
If
August.
we can find someone to
Well,
appoint,
let's call for the
And then
election
if
for
we
the,
fill it-
for the gubernatorial race. Go ahead and call for the
I think
election
so.
for the governor's race, which will, the cost will be,
Yeah.
cost will be carried by the state. We'll call for the election at that point in time. If we don't find somebody, which today was the last day to call, so we need to go ahead and call it for the governor's election in '23. If we don't find somebody, the governor will appoint, at which point in time they'll serve. If the governor probably not gonna have any more any more success than we've had. And we know the people in the community, we had
That's what
anybody
I'm
that wanted
saying.
to. So ultimately, we don't need to worry about appointment. Let's just call for the governors for the '23 election, so we're not bearing the cost of the election, and leave the majority of the election
And if
costs
we
on the
find
state.
somebody before then, can we recall that election?
Let it
You
go.
still gotta, you still
They'd have
gotta.
to,
still
they'd
have
have
to
to
run.
do it, even if we appoint, they'd have to
They still
run
gotta-
then.
Somebody's
Okay.
gotta run eventually.
And explain it about, Sandy, about the special election. I've had people, it's on every one of them. It doesn't mean that it's a
Separate
separate.
election.
Yeah, they thought, well, you trying to sneak something in with a special election. It's nothing to do with
Is
that.
the motion appropriate to call for the election in October '23?
All right?
Two things we need to do, either, we need to
Okay.
appoint somebody if we could, if not, call for the
We'll
election.
call for the
Making a
election.
motion.
All right, so
to-
you'll make a
Call for the
motion.
election.
Call for the election for November
of '23.
October of '23.
Second that.
Second by Mr. King. All right, is there any comments from the public on this?
Do we have an election October 23rd? I thought it was November.
October of '23.
Oh, 23.
It'll be the same
Yeah,
time the
yeah,
council ran,
yes.
the same time, yeah, okay.
Yes.
State rep, state senate, governor.
It's a big one, so the cost will be nothing.
I got you.
All All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, y'all get the word out on that.
Yeah, please.
And we're gonna have a
Well, if we
bunch
don't
of
get
people.
nobody, we can
Well, that'd be
make
good.
the
A bunch of
recommendation
people
that
better
the
than
gentleman that is the constable in Gary's district do it.
All right, item 14, adopt a resolution to approve a waiver
AP said he could.
of subdividing one lot into two lots in a named subdivision, DeVille Estates subdivision,
So if he did it,
located
then he could.
in Mr. McMorris's district.
Mr. McMorris is in favor of this, and so I'd like to make a motion on Mr. Morris's behalf to approve the waiver on subdividing one lot into two.
We got a motion by Mr. Talbot, second by Mr. Harris. Is there any comments from the public on this? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. 15, adopt a resolution to approve a waiver to subdivide a named subdivision, is that Juline subdivision? And place an additional mobile home in the named subdivision for Izzy Dominguez in Council District 6. This is also for Mr. McMorris.
Again, Mr. McMorris in favor of this. I would like to make a motion to adopt a resolution to approve the waiver for Mr. McMorris to put a trailer in Juline subdivision.
Motion by Mr. Talbot. Second by Mr. Harris. Any comments from the public? All in favor? Any opposed? Right.
Can I just say something that
Sure.
needs to be said? This is kind of like two things they're doing. They're wanting to divide in a subdivision and a named subdivision, and they're also wanting to put a mobile home in a named subdivision that's not on our list.
Right.
So
We do
that's the
both of
two
those at
things that
one
need to
time?
be approved.
So we did two different
Subdivide
motions.
within a subdivision and place a mobile home inside a named subdivision.
Okay. So the first one was the one, they were both the same.
First one was the
Okay.
waiver,
Got it.
so we need another motion to do
And I'd
that.
like to make a motion so the first motion was to put the trailer, the second motion is to subdivide in the named subdivision, of Juline.
Motion by Mr. Talbot, second by Mr. Harris. Any comments from the public? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, item 16, adopt a resolution to request Regency Park Drive be added to consideration of the priority road list. Mr. Bubba Harris?
Yes, sir. We had Mr. Taylor to go out and look at it. And the main concern right there is where Regency goes out onto the Vincent Road. It's real bad right there. And those people have been calling me for a while, and we just hadn't got to it. But it's on a list, I think, now. Isn't it, Billy?
It's going to be after you vote.
Okay. All right, that sounds good to me. Well, I'm all for a motion that we put it on the list then.
Jeff, can I
All
say
right,
something?
So do we have any more to add before we close this motion? Mr. Mack?
No,
It's
where
just-
it comes out to Vincent
Yeah,
Road.
it's just Regency Park Drive.
Yeah,
that's
just
all.
Regency Park. And then I have another one, it's, I think you went and looked at it too, and Livingston Trace,
Those are already all on this.
they're all on the
It's
list.
already on there.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Mack?
So I did have some I wanted to add to the consideration of the priority road list to be considered, to be overlaid. The first one is Joe Ray Road. These are all in Council District 9. The second one is Thompson Road. The third one is Amvets Road. The fourth one is Pearson Road. And the fifth one is Dan Pearson Road. And this is just to be considered and scored and determine whether or not they meet the requirement to be overlaid in the future.
Can we discuss that or not?
Yep.
But then, okay. I got some more I can also add, but I also have a 35-year list, and it's no, there's no use in adding them until we got already, the roads that need to be overlaid, that's on the list in my district alone, would take 35 years. That's on the list now, and that's not all the bad roads. So I just want y'all to think about what we're doing. I know I seen Mr. Layton's address and said that absolutely, under no circumstances would he consider bonding. And I think we should not make any kind of judgments until we got all the data in front of us. Which way can you do more roads? Which way can you get a better benefit for the people's money? It's not for us just to hoard the money and decide what we're going to do. You know, in 1 year, there was a previous administration that maybe 18 months, previous administration overlaid every road in the parish. We're never going to overlay every road in the parish. But I would hope that we'd overlay some of the worst roads. You know, that's what I would hope for. That's all I have to say. Thank you for indulging.
Anybody else? Miss Sandy, I do have two. Thoroughbred Lane and Quarter Horse Lane. I would imagine that's by a horse.
It's equestrian.
Yes.
Off of Walker North.
Yep. All right, so we got all them road names? All right.
Bubba made a motion, I'd like to second Bubba's motion.
All right, second. Got that? Motion by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Talbot. Is there any comments from the audience on this? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, 17, introduction of ordinance setbacks. Mr. Mack?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Jeff. So the Master Plan Committee worked really, really hard, several months, to put together an ordinance that's about future growth and planning for good future growth. And that's the setback requirement ordinance on federal and state highways. Now, this here ordinance is specific to Florida Boulevard, from the parish line to the parish line. It's a good ordinance such that it'll enable us to widen roads in the future without having to, pay to move permanent structures in the setback area. So in the right-of-way, servitude areas. So I'd like to introduce this ordinance or vote to.
It's just introduction.
We ain't voting, that's right. So I'd like this to be read and introduced in public hearing in 2 weeks.
Ms. Sandy, you want to read this?
This will be proposed ordinance number 22-38. This is an ordinance to hereby amend Chapter 46, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Article 1 in general, by adding Section 46-47, Future Highway Growth Corridors, and adding Section 46-48, Safety Requirements of property adjacent to state and federal highways of the Code of Ordinances for the Parish of Livingston. And the public hearing will be at 6 p.m. on August 25th.
Is this the same ordinance that we passed earlier that the parish president vetoed?
It is. It
Well,
is.
It changed.
It's got a few changes in it. The other one was for every state highway and every federal highway, and this one is restricted to 190.
Has anyone talked to him to see if he's going to veto this
Good
one?
with it.
Good on 190.
He's good with it.
Yep, we did talk to him, and he helped make some modification in here to make this a better ordinance, and he also approved, parish line to parish line, having the setbacks for that on
Okay,
Florida Boulevard.
that's-
So we're good. I feel very confident.
Creates a working document for us to add roads as we need to.
Okay.
I want to ask Shane a question, if you
Go ahead.
allow me, Mr. Chairman. This is not a land grab, because I heard one of the commissioners say he had to turn a subdivision down because it was a land grab by taking property. And I see him sitting in the audience, and I want to make sure they for this and not against this. Can I ask that question or not?
Sure.
Are y'all for this ordinance, Mr. Burns, or against this ordinance, the commission?
That's plan review.
Where to take?
Okay. This proposed ordinance, have you had a chance to look at it?
Oh, yeah, I have right.
And you for it then?
Yeah, I'm totally for it.
Okay, that's all I
yeah.
need to know. Okay.
If you want to ask any answers, questions, I'll be glad to answer
Oh,
them.
that's the only question we
Oh,
had.
we
That
good,
sounds
Gerald.
good.
We got the ball rolling now.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll add
So
as
we're-
needed.
I appreciate you, Mr. Gerald, working with
Yeah, thank
DOTD
you.
and everybody to get this done. Appreciate you so
All right,
much.
yep. All right, so that introduces that ordinance. So we have 18 is another introduction of ordinance. This is Mr. Mack again.
All right.
You're introducing tonight, huh?
Okay, so this is a big one. Let's see how I'm going to start this off. Okay, so I'm going to start this off by saying that.
Hold up. Ms. Sandy, won't you read by title first
Okay,
before you?
Okay, this will be proposed ordinance number 22-39. This is an ordinance to certify the official zoning map of the unincorporated areas of District 9 in the parish of Livingston, entitled Livingston Parish Zoning Map Council District Number 9, referred to in this chapter 117 of the Livingston Parish Code of Ordinances, and the public hearing will be at 6 p.m. on August 25th.
All right, appreciate that. I'll try to make this as short as possible. Okay, so once again, I just want to start this off by saying this several months ago, the council voted a zoning classifications, okay, and land uses within those classifications. So that zoning ordinance currently exists. The next step was to introduce and to develop zoning maps so that you could identify the property or parcel of property and how it was classified, okay? I'd like to say that, you know, this is not a knee-jerk reaction or knee-jerk decision. This is not a quick decision. I've been a councilman for about six and a half years, and it took me a while to get on board with, you know, zoning Livingston Parish, okay? Because in the beginning, I truly believed that this was about taking property rights from individuals. But as I grew as a councilman and became, you know, more, I guess you could say, knowledgeable about the needs of the people, I realized that this was about protecting people's property rights. And I appreciate those that helped me understand that, okay? And so this is about, to me, good growth in Livingston Parish, okay? And to me, good growth needs to be planned growth, right? And to me, you know, rapid, unplanned growth has severe impacts on infrastructure and drainage systems and sewer systems, and it has severe impacts on the quality of life and interrupts the quality of life of the people in Livingston Parish. So to me, planning, you know, and planning growth and good growth is a good thing. And so that helped me get on board with zoning Livingston Parish. Okay, so Council District 9 maps, you know, I'm very thankful for those involved that helped work hard to develop this. And these maps will be, you know, located on the council's website. So if individuals that, you know, within Council District 9 would like to know how their property is going to be zoned, they'll be able to go to that website, pull up that PDF, and look at that parcel of property. And the map will have legends, color-coded legends. The map is color-coded. You'll be able to look at your parcel of property. You'll be able to also look on our Livingston Parish Council website under Muni Code, the ordinance that details the classifications and land uses for that zoned area. And, you know, that's how you'll know how your area is zoned, right? Okay, so we don't need to vote, but I'd like to introduce this tonight. The plan is to, over the next 2 weeks, this is going to be adopted in 2 weeks at the next council meeting, okay? You know, there's going to be a public hearing, right? And if it's approved by the council, then it'll be adopted, okay? Now, if we foresee any major discrepancies or real issues, then this can be deferred then, right? I would like to also say that, you know, over the next couple of weeks, as you're taking time to look at this and determine if you agree or disagree with how your parcel of property is zoned, then, you know, if you have any questions or concerns, that you can reach out to me, the councilman, leave me a voicemail if I'm not able to answer right away, and I would love to discuss it with you and why it was zoned that specific way, right? And I would also like to say that I have reserved a room at the Albany Springfield Library Branch. We're utilizing that wonderful library out there in Albany or Springfield area on Tuesday night. It's 6 p.m. and that meeting will be from 6 p.m. to 7:30. and you're welcome to show up, and I'll have the maps, and I'll have the ordinance with the classifications and land uses, and we'll be able to review that, and let's talk about this. You know what I mean? This is about delivering a service and promoting good growth for the people that I represent and care about. Okay. Now, once again, after this is adopted in 2 weeks, okay, you still can communicate to the councilman of that area, or maybe a different councilman, you know, the clerks, and express how you feel about your property is zoned, and we can continue to discuss that. This is not a, you know, one-time deal and it's done. This can be modified to deliver, you know, the good quality of life, and deliver and meet the needs and what is acceptable to the people in Council District 9. I know this is a big change, but I feel very, very good about this change. I think it's a good thing for the people of Livingston Parish, and it's about you know, protecting property rights, and the use of land today, to me, will be protected and be able to be used for the same purpose in the future, you know, with the adoption of this zoning map and these zoning requirements. So thank you for your time. I know I talked a lot, but I'll hang out after the meeting. You can call me on my cell phone, you know, if you got any questions, and I'd like to move forward with introducing this zoning map for Council District 9.
Done.
All right, item 19, waiver request for section 125-37-3, number of lots on the servitude for Rick Sheffield, located on Wasson Lane off of 4H Club Road. Mr. Harris?
Yes. This man is wanting to give a lot to his daughter, which is right across from where he lives. And that is a private road going in there. And got limestone on it. It's not concrete or asphalt. And what he's going to do, since it is a private road, he's got two houses that's at the end of the road and 4H Club Road. So he wants to back up behind that property, and everybody's going to be aware of it that lives back there. He's going to put a gate up there, and that'll stop any other traffic from going back there. So I'm going to offer that as a motion.
Making a motion for the waiver request.
Yes, sir.
Second it.
Got a second by Mr. Mack. Is there any comments from the public on this? All right, any comments from the council? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, right now we're going to go to Ordinance Committee report. And Mr. Talbert, did you
I'll do this.
make
for
a
minute.
motion?
Yeah, so, Ms. Sandy, do you need to read this by title before we move forward to the discussion? Do you want to have the discussion about what we're going to do and then have you read it? What's?
Well, it'd be better to read it first,
Okay.
I would think. This is the one for the wetlands, is that
This is
the
the
one?
125. It's to correct some problems that
All
planning has with
corrections.
125.
Last thing, does it
Yep,
say
that should be
wetlands?
it.
Yeah.
All right, this will be proposed ordinance 22-40. This is an ordinance to amend Chapter 125 of the Code of Ordinances of Livingston Parish, Subdivision Regulations, Article 1 in general, Article 3 minor subdivisions, Article 6 streets, and Article 9 wetlands as follows. Public hearing will be on August 25th at 6 p.m.
Okay, so basically, this ordinance has several, it's just to clean up some problems that have occurred or that we've noticed that planning has in dealing mainly with minor resubs. Some of it had to do with definitions. We define a boulevard because we gave people an exemption. You know, if you put a boulevard to the 200th lot, in a subdivision, you could eliminate a road, but we didn't define what a boulevard was. It's an entrance to a subdivision that shall have a minimum of 2 20-foot lanes and a 15-foot median. So that's the definition of boulevard. Submittal date was undefined. Submittal date is when the plat goes before the Planning and Zoning Commission for a vote. That is stage 3. So that will become the submittal date. That's when the 60-day clock will start, not on the initial, stage 1 or stage 2. Stage 3 will when the 60 days start based on submittal.
Mr. Talbot, it's when they bring stage 3, if they don't have all the questions and answers, does it actually start at stage 3 or when they have it all answered?
It'll start when they go before at stage 3. So if they
Stage 3, they have to have all that.
So basically, when they make that, so that, Ms. White, correct me if I'm on the 18th, before the meeting of stage 3, they have to have everything answered. So like if you're talking about the Planning Commission meeting of December, the first meeting in December, stage 3 would technically occur prior to the 18th of November when the final package was submitted, and everything should be answered.
That's my question. If everything's not answered, does it actually start? Or
If everything's not answered, then it's
Then
going to
it
be
don't accept
rejected in that December meeting. It's a mute point.
So nothing will start.
Thank you.
So until
Okay.
it's accepted, stage 3, the clock
Right.
doesn't start.
Okay, so basically, it's when they bring that package, that's the package that's gonna go before planning. And the reason we put that period in there is so planning the commission got a
interpretation.
complete package.
No
You
interpretation.
can't amend that package after the 18th, because then the package, that's what we were getting now, incomplete packages. So everything that you submit prior to the 18th of the month before, that's all you get to have at the planning commission meeting.
I agree.
Okay, then we went through and minor resubs are not submittals, they're applications, so we struck all the submittal part out of that. And then the one thing is planning, all they ask for is 1 certified copy, they don't need 4 copies. Some of this stuff was copy and paste, and so we're just cleaning that up. Then if you went on section 125-37, we left out any division of property where any lot within the subdivision is less than 1 acre shall not be divided into more than 7 total lots. That was something that was part of the minor resub ordinance that we got left out, so we added 3. Then we had number changes because of that. The servitude situation, 60 foot. All servitudes on minor resubs will be 60 foot. No matter the length, they'll be 60 foot. Then the signage, the way the ordinance was written, signage was for 1 lot. We've changed it back to what it was. Actually, it said 4 lots or more. This thing says 5. Are we gonna go back to?
5 lots or less.
Oh.
So it means the same thing.
Okay, all right. So basically, it amounts to, if you have 4 lots, you gotta put a sign up. You have 3 lots, you don't. Same as the ordinance exists now.
No, 4
Did-
or less, they don't. So 5 or more.
Okay, 5 or more, you gotta put a sign up.
Yeah.
So they're getting a break now on the new ordinance on 1 additional lot. Because
That's the
currently,
same,
they
they-
gotta put a sign up on 4.
Is that right?
Okay.
Okay.
And
Do
then,
you want to change it? Or no?
we agreed at the commission to make it exist, it
Keep
was,
the
so
way
it should be, it
It
should
should have
be,
been 4 more instead of
Yeah.
5 or more.
it should be, so number 9 should be 4 lots or more, which is what the committee agreed upon. And then, of course, submission of the application to the planning department, a minor subdivision. So basically, when the sign says, it should say a minor subdivision instead of a subdivision. It's just a definition, it's
If you're
just,
doing 3,
doing 3, you don't put a sign up. You don't put a sign up now on 3.
but you still gotta put a 60-foot,
You still gotta put a 60-foot servitude.
what kind of
60-foot
road?
There is no road.
There's no road.
There's no, we took the DOT requirement of the road out. There is no road, it's a servitude. And that's part of 12580. When you go down to D, it just talks about that we took the road out, said the servitude must be a minimum of 60 foot for minor resub. We took the road definition of DOT out. And then the last change is on wetlands. Because of density, when you went to subdivide a piece of property, you had to prove that you didn't have marsh, swamp, or fen. So we have, what we're being told is it's overly burdensome for minor resubs, so we basically said, there's an exclusion of, section 125-126, exclusion C, exclusions of minor subdivision is outlined in section 125-37 with 4 lots or less. So if your minor resub has 5 lots, you still have to prove the density situation with wetlands. If you have 4 lots or less, you don't. And I'll explain why that number's
For
4
all the
later.
family things and stuff like that. I think
So
that's a good
basically,
idea.
if you're doing it to give a lot to a family member or something like that, but if you're chopping it up to 7, we know you're doing something more than giving it to family members, so that it's a different deal.
I second that motion.
So that's basically what it is.
Huh?
We're voting for introduction.
Well, that was the introduction of it.
That's the introduction.
So we can't vote, okay.
Okay.
Okay, the next item, we're gonna talk about, Miss Sandy, does Sandy have those right now? We're gonna do these concurrently. Can we do them concurrently, Sandy, or we gotta do them individually? Okay,
This will be proposed ordinance 22-41.
They're two totally, yeah.
This is an ordinance to amend chapter 126, commercial development, and the public hearing will be August 25th at 6 p.m.
It's just more of the same.
basically, what it amounted to is that when we added the section, 126, we left the procedure as the old procedure. This now changes the procedure to the same procedure that subdivisions have. So basically what it amounts to, in the past, if you did a commercial, as this said, we would do it the old way. And that wasn't the intent. The intent was for all commercial, multifamily, and subdivisions to follow the new procedure where you have the stage 1, the stage 2, and the stage 3. This is just a cleaning up a clerical deal, and so that's what this introduction's about.
So it's multifamily now and commercial, and it used to not
No,
be.
but if you'll just look, we just did commercial. Now we're getting ready to do section 127 when she introduces
So
it.
we got them two separate, okay, all right. I know that's been an issue.
That was commercial. Now,
That was just
read the other one by title.
Okay, this will be proposed ordinance 22-42. This is an ordinance to amend chapter 127, multifamily development. The public hearing will be held at 6 p.m. on August 25th.
Same situation, this ordinance defines the new procedure instead of the old procedure. It's just a clerical.
Got all the
clerical
studies and
deal.
everything in it, okay.
Chairman, at this time, I would like to request that we lift the agenda, and let me explain what it is. This item is to ask the administration, this is to pass a resolution to ask the administration to follow the guidelines set forth in proposed ordinance 22-40, effective immediately, to eliminate any confusion regarding chapter 125 definitions, minor subdivisions, street standards, and wetland regulations. By doing so, will eliminate the need for waivers before this ordinance goes into effect. We have tons of people who have set forth, tons of applications that have created a tremendous backlog and confusion in there. There are 4 waivers on this agenda that only address two resubs. So I'm asking that we lift the agenda so we can introduce that.
All right, so motion to lift the agenda by Mr. Talbot, second by Mr. Delat. Ms. Sandy, call for the vote.
Mr. Delat?
Yes.
Mr. Ard?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Mack?
Yeah.
Mr. Talbot?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Okay, so the resolution is to ask the administration to follow the guidelines set forth in proposed ordinance 22-40, effective immediately, to eliminate any confusion regarding chapter 125's definitions, minor subdivisions, street standards, and wetland regulations. By doing so, eliminate the need for waivers before this ordinance goes into effect.
Would you
Second by
consider?
Mr. King. Motion by Mr. Talbot, second by Mr. King. All right, Mr. Watson.
That's fine. Would you also consider adding to that motion to grant a waiver to these ones that are listed here, so they don't?
Won't need it.
Well, before you say we don't need it,
The administration might not.
that's exactly right. If we grant a waiver, that's law.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do this, and then what this will do is it'll allow the administration, if they choose to, these 4 items are on the agenda, let's go ahead and, can we just lump these 4 together? into one motion to grant the waivers on all four of these? Follow this up, Sandy?
All for the same.
I don't think we need to do that under
Yeah.
this. We
Oh,
can
no,
just-
not under
yeah,
this,
we'll
but
come out
let's
of
have the
this.
vote- let's have the vote
Yeah,
on
let's
this.
do this right here, we'll come out of,
The way it's done under consent, you can say that this is being adopted. That means that nobody is opposing it.
Yeah, then
and
do it
it's to
all.
make your meeting go faster.
Okay,
all right.
so we
All
don't
right,
vote on
let's
that?
go ahead, we had a motion and a second on the resolution. Is there any comments from the public on this? All right, Ms.
I just want to encourage everybody, there is a backlog because of the poor, different interpretations, and this is the way to clean it up, you know. It shouldn't be any more interpretations, should be just what we just said, and I'm voting in favor.
All right, Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Delat.
Yes.
Mr. Ard.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Wascom.
Yes.
Mr. Mack.
Yes.
Mr. Talbot.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
All right, I need a motion to go back in regular.
I make that
meeting.
motion.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Talbot, second by Mr. Delat. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, so you want to just read all four of them, and then we'll, all right, so this will be item 20, 21, 22, and 23.
Just handle it how she needs to
This is
handle it.
going to be adopted under the consent agenda, and it's a waiver request of section 125-126 wetland regulations, prohibited and permitted uses for Justin Harris located on Harris Road. Waiver of request of section 125-38 signage for Justin Harris on Harris Road. Waiver of request of section 125-77 street standards for Dana Rushing located off of Highway 16 in Council District 2.
I so move.
23.
And 23.
23 is a waiver request of section 125-126, wetland regulations, prohibited and permitted uses for Dana Rushing, located off of Highway 16 in Council District 2.
Motion to grant the waiver on.
Yes.
From them? And you
This is
second
by
that?
consent, isn't it?
Yeah.
All of them are
Yep.
going to be done at one
That's
time.
consent. All right, is there any comments from the public on this? All in favor? Any opposed? All right,
Okay, then.
24, adopt a resolution to name an unnamed road, Magnolia Estates Lane, located off of Kane Market. Mr. Talbot.
Okay, so we, even though 911 agreed to Magnolia Estates Lane, and we had some discussion, law enforcement made a comment about Magnolia Estates Lane with respect to the other Magnolia Estates, and number of calls, so there was some other options. Which one is replacing Magnolia Estates? The barn? No, okay, so this road is gonna be named Pasture 126, or 1026 Lane is the name of this, and look, while we're doing this, there is they had another application that wasn't finished in time to make the agenda, but it is part of the same deal, it's the same people, everything's in compliance now, and it is to name another road Barn Lane. So Sandy, since it is the same deal, but Barn Lane wasn't finished, everything wasn't done, do we need to lift the agenda to adopt Barn Lane, or can we?
Do we have a letter from the permit office approving the name?
Yes.
Let's just approve it.
Be an issue.
So the Barn Lane it wasn't on Tuesday, but it is now.
I would defer to you, but it's not on the agenda. I would.
Okay, so the first item is the resolution on Pasture 1026 Lane.
So we got a motion from Mr. Talbot, second from Mr. King. Any comments from the public on this? All in favor? Any opposed? All right.
At this point in time, I'd like to lift the agenda to take in the name Barn Lane on another road for the same individual.
All right, got a motion by Mr. Talbot to lift the agenda. You got a second? Second from Mr. King. Ms. Sandy, call for the vote.
Mr. Delat.
Yes.
Mr. Ard.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Wascom.
Yes.
Mr. Mack.
Yeah.
Mr. Talbot.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Resolution to name an unnamed road Barn Lane.
Motion by Mr. Talbot, second by Mr. King. Any comments from the public? All right, all in favor? Any opposed? All right,
I'd like to make a motion to go back to the regular agenda.
all right, motion by Mr. Talbot, second by Mr. King. Who's second man? All right. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. All right, that's it clear. All right, board reappointments, 25. Livingston Parish Communication District Board, 911. I know I have one which I need to reappoint Mr. James Wascom.
Randy, you and I in concurrence on reappointing Mr. Ard. He was in District 2 and moved to District 8, but, okay, and he is the chairman, so.
I think it'd be a good idea to reappoint.
I don't know, well, maybe we ought to hold that one out.
I'll make the motion.
You make the motion?
No, I do have to also reappoint Boyd Wild from my area.
Yep.
Do them all at one time?
Yeah, we'll do them all. We're gonna do them all at one time.
For your term.
So we got, Mr. Wascom,
Apparently it doesn't
Mr.
matter where
Ard,
people live,
Mr.
we got
Wild.
2 and 3 in
Is
the
that
same
it?
district.
It's just them three? All right, is there any comments from the public on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Personnel Board.
Did anybody talk to Mr. Gerald about this?
I did not talk to him about this. Sandy, you got any?
He didn't mention this. I know they do not hardly meet.
What is the Personnel Board?
That probably needs to be
That's,
called.
that's if the administration fires somebody, that's the person that they can go to and
The
request.
board, they can kind of,
I thought the president made those appointments.
Charter has a section in it to appoint a personnel board, 3 members, and if a person, like say they're terminated and they don't agree with their termination, they can go to this board, and the board's decision is final.
But who makes the appointments?
It's the gentleman's pleasure of the Livingston Parish Council, whatever the pleasure is of the mayor.
So, and basically, there are 2 from District 4 and 1 from District 6, and they've just been that, Randy, it's just been that way since when we were elected 8 years ago. It's the same basic makeup. And,
I think we changed one because
well, yeah, somebody did,
I
but
think-
John made the appointment on the one we changed. So my question is, Sandy, if Mr. Gerald's not here, we don't have to make an appointment, they can continue to serve, and then we'll just wait till
Yeah.
Mr. Gerald gets back.
August 25th, defer it to August 25th.
yeah, we'll just defer it to August 25th, let him come back. And then, all right, so we'll defer that one. All right, District Attorney Report.
Nothing to report this evening, gentlemen.
All right.
report that I lied on a 15-minute meeting.
Yeah, he wasn't but an hour off.
I was gonna
Shane,
adjourn.
thanks,
Make a
Gary.
motion adjourn.
What would beat you?
Yeah.
What would beat you? Motion to adjourn by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Delat. All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned.